Lansing voted to decriminalize small amounts of marijuana for private use inside your home and transportation of, I think it's the simplest way to put it. Jeffrey Hank is an attorney, and we were talking about the ramifications of that. Does that mean that that you could sell it and that stores could open up and selling it in East Lansing too?
Well, that's a good question. Under state law and federal law, no. I mean, the word transfer could mean, an exchange between two people for value. And, of course, a private store would theoretically be operating on private property. But that gets into all these other issues with zoning and with the state law. And so I don't think you're likely to see that at this point in time. Maybe sometime in the future. But I don't think you're likely to see that right now.
Okay, and are you making a bid now for a statewide effort to decriminalize marijuana?
We absolutely are. We have a ballot question committee formed called the Michigan Comprehensive Cannabis Law Reform Initiative, and we've been working on this now for several months, trying to assemble some of the state's most noted authorities and legal experts on marijuana law and people who have worked in the marijuana industry, and trying to craft a plan based on the best practices from some of these other states, but a model that'll work for Michigan. And this is kind of a free market model that tries to create as many jobs as possible, decentralizes the authority to regulate this industry mainly to the local governments. So a city like Ann Arbor could approve a facility, but another city might not. But we would have general legalization of small amounts of marijuana, again, for adults, and adults could grow a few plants and things like that. But then we would take, through this regulated market and through some sort of sensible taxation that we enact, we would earmark those funds to go 40% to road funding, 40% to the school aid fund, and 20% back to local governments. And if you project your economic forecast off of Colorado and these other states, there is quite a potential here in Michigan. It's not a total solution to the road funding by any means, but it's a substantial solution that can't be ignored anymore. And the numbers are quite large. I mean, we estimate about $300 million in cost savings for state and local government, $100 to $200 million in new revenue from the taxation on sales to adults, and 25,000 jobs. So that's not even including the hemp market, and that's not including the secondary taxation like the state income tax or the Social Security tax. But if you put thousands of people to work, all those things get funded too. So the exact economic forecast, Michael, you don't know because it's a new market. But when you add those numbers up, I mean, you're at $500 million or $600 million in cost savings and new revenue, and that's the kind of money that, when we're looking for solutions to the road funding issue, just can't be ignored. Again, there is no pile of money out there to grab other than this, and all it takes is a few law changes, and we unleash the potential of this market, and that's exactly what we hope the state legislature is going to look at here in the next few days.
And it doesn't change anything about driving under the influence. You can't do that.
No, absolutely not. That would still remain legal under state law, and that's one of the most commonly voiced concerns. But absolutely not. We hope that people drive safe and be responsible. And part of this change that we need to have is going to include a public education component. I mean, we're going to need not only schools, but the government, and we're going to need public service announcements. I mean, we're going to need that research to take place about what are the dangers of marijuana, what are the mitigative factors and policies and regulations that we can do. But a lot of this kind of stuff, we can't even study the health effects of marijuana right now to the extent that we should be able to because of our laws. So as we see these things evolve over time, I'm sure we're going to learn more, and there's going to have to be public education about responsible ways to use marijuana.
Well, thank you for educating us this morning. Keep in touch, will you please?
Thank you, Michael. Take care, everyone.
Attorney Jeffrey Hank from East Lansing.